Hey everybody, it's Sir Charles here, back with another live stream. I told you I was gonna do another live stream, but I'm just gonna do it by myself. And then I'm gonna play a little bit of Murder Mystery 2. Okay, so let's get on Roblox. I mean, you just mute. Okay, so come on, Roblox, work with me here.
You should see my throat! Do you like to turn? But you just told us you could prepare any pearl.
For that time.
It doesn't matter. I'm gonna fix it. Stop it! I can't deal with one more horrible thing she did, okay? I don't want to hear about it. I don't even want to think about it.
Steven.
I just want to fix it! Careful with my dad! If this is another one of your pranks, you better cut it out! Father, go inside. I won't let you...
Alright, I'm back. Well, the slots too. Final report. Two now. Please check. Please not killing me. Something's killing me. Anyways, if you want to join me, then there's my username where my mouse is pointing. Final report.
We fight the battles no one hears about. We're the ones who go before all others. Join the fight.
Okay.
Episode is perhaps the single most important that we've done on the FNAF lore in a long time. Our goal is to solve Golden Freddy. That's right, FNAF Reddit. I am justified in using my favorite Golden Boy in the thumbnail today because this episode is all about him. It's them, which I gotta be honest is probably a good thing because run out of ways to make old Yeller over here look interesting in a thumbnail. I mean, the dude's only got like 2 decent quality images in the entire 6-year history of this franchise. Say what you will about milking this franchise dry, we've milked that image dry. If only every other character in this franchise was this clickable. But seriously, with the recent release of Bunny Call, the 5th Fazbear Fright book, I think we have enough information now to finally put together a quasi-definitive answer on who is in that iconic golden suit, which, gotta be honest, is like the biggest mystery to me in this franchise at this point. Solving this one is like obtaining the first of 3 massive holy grails when it comes to the lore of this franchise. But in order to do it, we're going to look at the games, the books, and the spin-offs. And by the end, we'll have ourselves an answer that not only game and book, an answer that satisfies pretty much everything about this character. An answer that irons out all the wrinkles and frustrations that I've had when concocting past theories about this guy. Oh, and it also just picks a little bit of the scabbed over wound of a past theory, open it just enough that it might get infected. So, are you ready to have your mind blown? It has been 6 years. Well, then let's begin with the Stitch Raid. For those of you who've missed it, the Stitch Raid story is happening in small chunks at the end of each Fazbear Fright book. It's kind of like an MCU post-credits teaser minus the color-shifting Thanos. It's about an animatronic spoon piece together from the haunted spare parts of various toys and robots, given life through the power of human agony. Now that it's alive, the creature is wandering the city, collecting more haunted toys and killing people with its zappy, sucking their bodies dry and making them cry oily black tears. And up to this point, that's pretty much all we knew about this monstrosity. Lead me to conclude that the reason we're meeting this thing is to prove the existence of remnants and how it works via negative human emotions. Maybe set him up as the new villain for that upcoming game security breach. Or at the very least, that's what I thought. Oh no, dear theorists. The Stitch Raid is far more important than we could have ever imagined. In the epilogue of book number 4, Step Closer, we meet Andrew and Jake, the two who find themselves trapped inside the Stitch Raid. And the conversation that they have when they first meet starts to give us some of the lore drops that we have been waiting years to hear. Quote from the book, "Now Jake was inside a metal thing. He didn't know enough about anything to understand what it was, but he did know that he wasn't alone. He was sharing a strange place." "Oh, hi," Jake said. "I'm Jake. Who are you?" "I'm Andrew." The child's voice was rough. He sounded a little like a boy Jake used to know in school, a boy who was always talking back to the teacher and getting himself in trouble. Jake thought Andrew sounded angry. Very angry. End quote. We're told that even though both their souls are infused into the same endoskeleton, Jake is the only one able to move the Stitch Raid's body. He's also the only one capable of seeing the outside world. Andrew is blind to it all. It's kind of like those things, especially on Chipotle days. No wonder Andrew's nuts. However, it's when they start talking about their former are kind of fuzzy, Jake said. Get back at someone who hurt me. I think I attached myself. I remember I wanted him to suffer the way he made me suffer. I remember they tried to almost say that Andrew is a spirit wanting revenge. A literal, this is all going right. Back when Ultimate Custom Night first came out, we theorized that the entire game full of torture and torment at the hands of his past victims. Or should I say it was called by many names, the one you should not have killed, the vengeful spirit. But in the end, by doing the impossible of that game and beating 50-20 mode, it's revealed that Golden Freddy lingers on, twitching with rage, refusing to move on into his afterlife. And here, Andrew is pretty much confirming exactly that. Sound the party horns and the children celebrating. It looks like we got one right. Or should I say mostly right. What's interesting about this whole Jake-Andrew conversation from the book is that back with Ultimate Custom Night, we assumed that William Afton was dead, and that this was just his afterlife in purgatory, or Ichi-double hockey sticks or whatever. He died in Henry's Fire, the one that was said at the end of FNAF 6, the one meant to bring the whole series to a close. I mean, how could he not be dead? Henry even had that awesome final line for him.
Although for one of you, the darkest pit of hell has opened to swallow you whole. So don't keep the devil waiting, friend.
You don't just survive one-liners like that. And yet here, Andrew says that he was actively keeping his killer alive against everyone's attempts on his life. So does that mean that Afton is still... No.
I always come back.
He attack, he protect, he always come back. But just because William may have been kept alive in the book lore doesn't necessarily mean that he was left alive in the game lore too. Well, it shouldn't, but I think it does. Fast forward to this month in our newest book, Bunny Call. What was originally supposed to be the 5th and final installment in the Fazbear Fright series. A literal 5 books at Freddy's, until of course it got extended. Now we have ourselves the bonus 6th and 7th night books. And while the first 2 stories in this new book are interesting and certainly worth talking about on a different day, it's the 3rd one, The Man in Room 1280, that ties into our Golden Freddy mystery today. Stop me if you've heard this one. Mysterious man in a hospital, burned well beyond the point of death, and yet somehow he remains alive. Quote from the book. The man had no face. A hole in his skull indicated where his nose used to be. Dark, cavernous pits lacking eyes looked at nothing. A toothless mouth gaped without lips to protect it. We'd be remiss if we didn't warn you, the nurse said. We know what that is. Evil, Father Blythe. Evil. In fact, the hospital staff is so convinced that he's the embodiment of evil that they tried to kill him multiple times, via injections, via smothering, via seances, but nothing will do it. He cannot be killed, but not for the reasons that you would expect. It's not an iron will to live or the remnant that's flowing through his veins that's keeping him alive. It's a ghost. Each attempt on the patient's life is thwarted by the ghost of a boy with curly black hair wearing an alligator mask. In fact, the two seem to be intertwined with each other. The story informs us about the patient's brain patterns, and they're a bit unusual. Quote, according to the hospital's sleep expert, that particular REM pattern indicates nightmares. Horrific nightmares. See, there and there, the nurse pointed at one part of the brain scan. 2 signals means 2 living things, 2 entities. They're both vying for control of the brain, but they're at odds with each other. We think they're tormenting each other. Sounds a bit like Andrew, right? Andrew attached himself to the man who killed him and refuses to let him die so he can torment him, which is the exact relationship between the vengeful spirit and William Afton in the games. And if there was any doubt about who this mysterious man in the hospital is, the patient wants to go to a Fazbear distribution center, and we're told that the Stitch Wraith mystery is somehow tied to a mysterious fire involving Freddy's and the former owners of the business. Every which way to Sunday, this is our William Afton stand-in for these books. Andrew is our vengeful spirit stand-in, and it feels like the book is trying to tell us that Custom Night wasn't purgatory or heck, it was Afton's living nightmare as he was laying in a hospital bed recovering. William Afton may still be alive, or maybe he was alive and then he eventually explodes. Yeah, the story ends with William's carcass being wheeled out to the Fazbear distribution center, and then it literally blows up like a bomb. It is just as gross and gory and disgusting as you would expect it to be. Maybe it's a good thing that these books don't have pictures. My personal guess is that this is what releases the angry spirit of Andrew into lots of other toys like Fetch and Plushtrap, and it may also be how Afton's soul gets itself into a computer chip that eventually gives life to Glitchtrap. Okay, this has been a lot about Afton, and I promised that this would be a mega theory about Golden Freddy. So how does it all connect together? Well, notice how I described Andrew's ghost, a boy with curly black hair and an alligator mask. It's the same hair as the mysterious dead body found inside Golden Freddy's suit back in Fazbear Frights number 3. Quote from that book, "Down low, past his arm, Devin could see a body, a dead body, but it wasn't exactly like he thought he'd find. This one had curly black hair." The lore of this series doesn't tend to give us a lot, but one thing it tends to keep relatively consistent is hair. So knowing that Andrew is an angry spirit with curly black hair, and that Golden Freddy has a body inside of it with curly black hair, Andrew is pretty clearly our Golden Freddy kid, which makes things related to Andrew roughly related to Cassidy back in the games. Want even more of a connection between the two of them? The name Cassidy is derived from an Irish surname meaning clever or curly-haired. Actually owe that little factoid to Redditor Shrek the First. Good find on that one. I actually would have never thought to look into the name Cassidy. So even though Andrew may not be named Cassidy in the books, he is still representing the origin of the name through his hair. Now, here is why all of this matters. Follow me on this. Both Andrew in the books and Cassidy in the games are missing children's incident victims, stuffed inside of suits and angry enough to keep their killer in a purgatory state so he can be tortured. Seems like a pretty slam dunk connection there. We know that up to this point, the books have been hinting at the fact that Golden Freddy may have more than one soul inside of him. And in these stories, we see Andrew actively upset that he has to share an endoskeleton with another dead kid. So is it possible that in the games, Golden Freddy is possessed by both Cassidy and the Bite of 83 victim, Vengeful Spirit and the Crying Child, just like Andrew sharing a body with Jake in the books? After all, we know via clues in the text, as well as book number 6's description, that his endoskeleton mate Jake is a nice kid who died tragically in a hospital. We know that the Crying Child is also a nice kid who dies tragically in a hospital, even though he got bitten before, but you know. Now, admittedly, that alone is a weak sauce connection, I admit it. What's not weak sauce, though, is that evidence is actually out there to prove that two spirits are in Golden Freddy. So, last month we proved that Foxy Bro is definitely Michael Afton. It is a huge confirmation from the series, but that came with a set of problems, specifically in the form of the security logbook. The problem is that the spirit Cassidy in the book seems to be talking to Mike about things that only apply to the Bite of 83 victim, saying things like, "The party was for you," and talking about his plastic purple telephone. It doesn't make sense if Cassidy is talking to Michael Afton. But what if Cassidy isn't talking to Mike? What if Cassidy is having a conversation with someone else, with a second spirit? The logbook doesn't just have one person in it, it has two. This was brought to my attention by a comment on YouTube from Inky, who says it's not useful reading the YouTube comments, right? Quote, "I direct you now to pages 89 and 109, where we see a spirit replying to Fated's questions through altering the text existing in the book. Therefore, we know that Fated is not talking to Mike, but talking to Mike's brother, who is also in the logbook. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk." I gotta say, that is the best TED Talk I've ever seen. Definitely beats the one about how to dry your hands using a single paper towel.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
And Inky Ink isn't wrong here either. I went back to double check. One of the things the Fated text says is that the party was for you, and right there on page 89 is the answer, "It was for me." A statement and an acknowledgement of that statement. A conversation. Two spirits, one book. Two spirits, one animatronic. For years, I have been frustrated by the fact that the Crying Child, the Bite victim of 83, would have made the most sense to pass into the Golden Freddy body, but it never lined up with the fact that 5 kids died during the missing children's incident, and that one of them would have had to have gone on to possess Golden Freddy. But now we have a solution to both of those things. Golden Freddy can still have the Bite victim in him, one that says, "It's me," when he sees his brother working as a security guard. But it can also have a second spirit in him, one who died in this horrific missing children's incident murder, and one who continues to torment Afton long after he's passed on. And the logbook isn't done. Sure, on those pages we see the responses of, "It was for me," and "I'm scared," but we also see the responses of, "I can hear sounds," and "I can't see." It, once again, is a parallel back to the Andrew and Jake situation, where one spirit can see and maneuver the body, while the other is trapped down below the surface, able to listen, but unable to do much else. This feels like the solution to Golden Freddy that we've been waiting for. The problem with him is that we've always assumed he was just one kid, one spirit who we tried to make fit into all the various details about the lore, but it never quite worked, and that's because it would never work. In reality, you always needed two entities. One, sensitive and kind, a younger brother looking for peace, and one, the victim of a brutal murder, violent, eager for revenge. And here's the real twist, my friends, that might not be all. There's one last small detail in the Stitch Wraith story that we have to keep an eye on. We learn in that story that Jake and Andrew aren't intentionally murdering people, that when they reach out to touch someone, they accidentally zap them. Jake assumes it's Andrew doing it, but he's wrong. Final quote from the book. I just want to scare people, okay? Zap is killing them. Well, that wasn't what I wanted. So if what you're doing isn't doing what you want, it's doing something someone else wants. Maybe something else is here with us. You are a hitchhiker on the man who killed you. Why can't someone else hitchhike with us? So it looks like there might be more souls involved when it comes to Golden Freddy, but that's a story for another day. And with ends, it's the last book until next year. There's definitely a few stories I haven't talked about that merit another video or two, but for now, Fazbear Frights and all its numerous lore reveals have come to an end, which I gotta say I'm kinda sad about. These have been a great way to engage with the mysteries of the franchise with the slow drift coming out over the course of this year, like a book every other month. It's been a really cool release strategy. And honestly, some of these stories are the creepiest things produced by this franchise in a long time. Anyway, I guess the only thing left at this point is crossing our fingers for that new game to come out soon. Now? Alright, Scott, don't you release another game on us or anything. No? Huh, that used to work. Oh well, probably better to wait anyway. Halloween is just around the corner, and there's not a whole lot of other ways we're going to be able to celebrate it this year. But hey, if you haven't checked out these books yet, but are a fan of the series, then check them out using our sponsor for today's episode, Audible. It's one thing to read these stories, it's another thing to hear these stories. I gotta say, nothing is better than hearing a scary story told aloud, and Audible has great recordings of all 5 of the Fazbear Frights books, not just fully narrated, but also full of sound effects that really enhance the story. It really gets you into that cool, frightened mood, especially when you listen alone in the dark at night. But okay, you already know Audible is the leading provider of audiobooks, and I'm sure you're familiar with how Audible members get a credit to pick a new title every month, plus 2 Audible originals from a monthly selection. But did you know that Audible is currently giving back to the world in a big way? I actually really love this new initiative of theirs, and I'm really glad that they're letting me talk about it here. Basically, Audible recognizes that we're kind time of crisis, guys, because of the pandemic, school schedules being all over the map,
I'll
parents
be
looking for
right
new
back,
ways to entertain
guys. Okay.
Okay, folks, she's a little shy, so give her a hand when she comes out.
Eyes on me. Good.
Think it'll scare the kids?
This will give the parents nightmares. He went and made a new dinosaur? Probably not a good idea. It's killing for sport. We're going after it with everything we got.
Wish they could hear right.
As we reopen, don't you want your pocket of America to still feel like...
Resources to help you run your business better, and partners to help you grow online. That's a better normal.
Your mom died. I inherited $498 million. You are joking. I am 25. I am literally 25. Let's go great picking with Lady Gaga. So I've been aging to kind of see what happens with that. I haven't been able to... Welcome back to Crystal Clear on the Roundtable. I'm Usher Fox, and today we're going to start doing something that I've been wanting to do for a very long time. We already do it on this channel with promos, trailers, and for some shows in the past, even full-length episodes like Gumball, and that is breakdowns of full-length episodes of Steven Universe, and in 2019, Star Wars Evil, She-Ra, Infinity Train, and so much more. So I thought, what better way to kick off Diamond Days than a breakdown of Lecture to Homeworld? Storyboarded by Amber Craig, Hillary Florido, and Tom Perfect. A great combination. Now he has his episode's first release at San Diego Comic-Con 2018, and on Angel 1st and July 2nd respectively, but now that it's aired on TV and everyone has potentially seen it, we can finally break it down. And since these episodes are airing weekly, we'll be doing this with the entirety of Diamond Days. Starting with the title card, you may notice that debris from Yellow and Blue Diamond ships have been inserted into the background, referencing said ship's destruction and reunited, while also serving as a throwback to the episodes Blue's Closure and Joyride, and how those title cards also feature debris from the Gem warship following a Beach City invasion. Now, despite taking place immediately after United, it's now daytime, and everyone is out of their wedding attire. Did they have a little intermission so everyone can get some more arc-appropriate clothing? Now, as Blue Diamond's getting all cuddly and emotional with Steven, Garnet refers to Blue Diamond as a Shatterer, which is a direct callback to their little run-in all the way back in the answer. Blue Diamond wanted to shatter Ruby for fusing with Sapphire. This is just another installment in their long-running grudge towards Blue.
She's shattered! She yelled at Sapphire, she gets fusion, and long!
Yellow Diamond acknowledges that not only does Steven look a little different from Pink Diamond, but he also differs in voice. Gems typically don't sound all too different whenever they alter their physical appearance. So why would Yellow be convinced Pink is just doing a voice? That she's just really good at pitch shifting. Yellow Diamond also represents the events of the trial, asking why Pink Diamond didn't speak up right then and there. Well, to be fair, proclaiming to be the person you murdered at your own trial probably wouldn't go over all too well, especially after seeing what Yellow Diamond did to Zircons. A really neat detail, the exposed joint of Yellow Diamond's damaged ship has a yellow, blue, and pink color scheme. The colors of the diamonds, excluding white diamond. If we look at Pearl's pose as Yellow Diamond's fixing the gemstone, you may find it a bit familiar. It appears to be a sign of respect around authority, as we also saw this pose in previous episodes such as That'll Be All, and Now We're Only Falling Apart. Now, there are some weird animation errors with the diamonds throughout the episode. The sclera of Yellow Diamond's eyes keep alternating between yellow to white without any real rhyme or reason. This appears to only happen when Rough Draft animates Yellow Diamond, as the same thing occurred in Message Received. Blue Diamond also suffers from Rough Draft syndrome, as her sleeves turn to Piggy's gloves at any time. Yellow Diamond speculates Pink Diamond's memories are still inside Steven's gemstone somewhere. We know this is true to the events of Jungle Moon and Can't Go Back. Potentially we'll see more of this down the line. Maybe even Steven unlocking all of his mother's memories at will? At the warpad, we can spot Vincent pressing her arm with Pearl, continuing the physical mannerisms of the dynamic introduced in Vincent's titular debut. Steven lures Centipedal out of her ship with a bag of shafts, calling back to their previous adventures and connection in the episode's Monster Buddy and Monster Union.
After Steven explains corruption to the diamonds and they decide to crack at it, Yellow Diamond rubs her hands together before attempting to heal Centipede. A cheeky nod to her electricity-based powers, conducting energy. While Yellow Diamond's role in corruption and its cure seems to be related to the physical form, Blue Diamond's appears to be related to the mental state, and Steven, or Pink Diamond's involvement in healing, is presence, leaving permanence to a certain someone. Alright, so once Centipede is stable, after years of speculation.
Hold on, I'll be back, guys. Mm, mm, mm.
Her gemstone is finally revealed to be a nephrite. In particular, she's nephrite facet 413, Cabochon 12. Now, Cabochon in gem terminology is a gemstone which has been shaped and polished. Usually, Cabochon is used in opposition to faceting a gem, so I guess it's kind of contradictory in the real world. But it means something else here, not as contradictory. The 413 in nephrite's name may be a not to homestuck. 413 is a significant number in the webcomic series, and Amber Cragg, who storyboarded this episode, is close friends with the author too. Cross franchise Easter eggs. Easter eggs. Nephrite also references the Hestonite she served, referencing to the gem we saw in Monster Union, who is also the antagonist of the video games TV universe, Save the Light, which is canon to the events of the show. Yellow and Blue Diamond conclude that they cannot heal corruption on their own, but if it was the four of them, might be different. And after over 70 episodes since her mirror debut, we finally have a name drop of White Diamond proper in the show, leading to startling reactions from Garnet, Vincent, and Pearl. The background and said reactions appear to be the Mindscape, looking identical to the Mindscape in Reunited and Gem Drill, possibly hinting at my related shenanigans to come with White Diamond herself. After Yellow and Blue finish bringing the statement of White Diamond, we return to Rose's landfill in the desert, decorated by Pink Diamond's ship. We were introduced to this location last season in Line 4, alternate ending. And yes, after about a year's speculation, Pink Diamond's ship has been confirmed to be a flex ship with awesome hills to boot. Now, as everyone's preparing to take off to the road, I love this nice movie for these turns. It really shows the progression. They looked uncomfortable around Steven and the Jubs. Connie's holding the ground herself for a baiting kind with her sword, just sending their daughter off into space. Priyanka even asking, reunited by Blue Diamond? Well, we know it doesn't. Connie does mention to her parents' businesses with ambitions, which may be that Debbie isn't being. was the logic in it? She couldn't bring herself to destroy something worth protecting.
Alright, sorry guys, but I had to cut it short because I'm gonna play with my friend. I'm gonna play with some of my siblings.
The fandom sort of needed for a character development.